Commonwealth Secretary-General Patricia Scotland has congratulated India for its G20 presidency and a historic lunar landing. In an exclusive interview to CNN News 18, the Secretary-General highlights how the Ukraine war cannot be G20's only priority. Listen in. Secretary-General, the Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, it's a privilege to have you on my show. In fact, on CNN News 18. How have you been?
Well, I've been absolutely fantastic, and I'm so glad to be here with you, not least because, as you just know, we have just completed the Commonwealth Women Affairs Ministers meeting in the Bahamas. And during that meeting, we received the fantastic news that India had succeeded in launching on the south side of the moon,
right.
And the leader of the team was a woman. So we were celebrating, the whole of the Commonwealth was celebrating India's brilliant success, but we did take a special little delight that it was a woman who got India there.
It's actually so significant that you mentioned Chandrayaan-3's landing. And we, of course, are connecting at a very significant critical juncture. Apart from this cosmic success, India is also chairing the G20, from being the largest Commonwealth nation to now being the G20 president, that too for a first time. What should be key concerns for India's presidency, a country known for multipolarity, now in a highly polarized world?
Well, I think that India has focused absolutely on the right agenda for the G20. And that India's agenda is, in fact, the Commonwealth agenda. So what we want to encourage is that India should go full speed ahead on the issues that she has identified, because they are very much at the heart of what our Commonwealth is now seeing. You know the issues that we have in relation to climate change. The fact that this is causing an existential threat to so many of our member states. Our Commonwealth, which is made up of about 2.6 billion people, 1.4 billion are Indian.
Secretary-General, there's been a lot of debate and consultation to break the deadlock as far as inclusion of the Ukraine war in the upcoming joint declaration of G20 is concerned. At the same time, there's a need for reforming global financial system amid crushing debt crisis. Of course, a very critical issue that you just mentioned, climate action, there's gender equality, poverty. Should the war in Ukraine be the only priority for G20?
Well, I would say that it can't be the only priority. If you look at the issues that are troubling us, and you have just highlighted them, where you have a situation where we have had 7,000 more critical issues in relation to climate disasters, where we have rising debt, where we know that the international financial institutions need to be changed. And you understand, of course, that India is chairing the Commonwealth Finance Ministers Action Group on the reform of the international financial institutions. You know that the consequence of the failure to take into account fully the vulnerability of many of our developing small island states, these developed states, is critical. Poverty is, for the first time in recent, on the rise. We've got the issue in relation to the cost of living. We have the energy crisis. All of these issues are of acute importance to everyone. The G20, if you look at, and I come back to climate change, if you look at climate change, G20 countries are responsible for 80% of the greenhouse gases. The small and island developing states and the least developed are only responsible for 5%. We have the huge issue coming up as to how we fund this. These are critical issues which the G20 must address. I'm not saying that the Ukraine-Russia conflict is not important. Of course it is. But it cannot be the only issue, because all of those other pressing existential global issues must be of acute concern to all of us, and certainly to the G20.
Interestingly, that's also an opinion that's been shared by India as well. When we look at India now, it's of course emerging as the voice of the global South. What are the challenges of bridging that gap between the global South and the global North? And how can India make a difference? You also happen to belong to the Caribbean, which is of course an integral part of the global South.
Yes. Well, the most important thing is if you look at the technological divide that there is now, we know that there is a transformation happening, and the use of technology, the use of AI, all of these issues are going to widen the gap between those who are advantaged and those who are not. So we are really going to have to bridge that gap. All the things that India is doing on that technological front, the openness to share technology, to make sure that the global South has access to it, to ensure that women are fully engaged in this and are represented. These are issues which are really important.
Fair enough. Secretary General, fortunately, we also have a Prime Minister in India who advocates gender equality. I want to know your thoughts about Prime Minister Narendra Modi and how he's brought and pushed India to the international stage, from fronting the war against COVID to also now becoming a leading voice for the global South and becoming the G20 chair. I'd like to know about your thoughts as far as Prime Minister Modi's contribution to the international community is concerned.
Well, I think he has made an extraordinary contribution, particularly in relation to changing the policies and the procedures to make sure women in particular are included. So if you think about the way in which now the introduction of the banking system, having an account, and you'll remember how that was a matter of great contention. But now, you will see as a result of that, millions of women have now got a greater degree of autonomy. They've been able to manage their own incomes better. There's a greater number of women going into small and medium-sized businesses. This has made a dramatic change in the way in which things have done. But I actually think the technological development and the rationalization of that, so that more people from every strata can have access to mobile phones, to digital money. All of these things, I think, have made a huge difference. And what we have seen is India's willingness to share that technological revolution with those who are less able to do it themselves has been really very, very much welcomed, certainly by everyone that is in the Commonwealth Global South. And we are encouraging India to do even more to share that technology, because what India has done is develop at a more affordable cost that which many others would dream of having. And that's something which, of course, the Indian government need to be congratulated for.
I was hoping that after the moon landing, the G20 also proves to be another success story for India. It was a pleasure to have you on CNN News 18, Secretary General. Thank you so much for sharing your precious time with us.
No, thank you very much. And congratulations and good luck, because we need India to be brilliant in chairing or to continue to be brilliant in chairing the G20. And we wish you all courage. And all
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Secretary General. I do hope to see you soon.